Imagine 5 friends piling into a car after a basketball game on a winter night and then vanishing into the mountains. Days later, their car is found on a lonely, snowbound road, perfectly drivable. Doors unlocked, maps in the glove box, candy wrappers on the seats. Months pass. When the snow recedes, searchers make discoveries that deepen the mystery rather than solve it. Footprints, scattered items, and a Forest Service trailer with food, heat, and supplies left largely unused. 4 friends are eventually found. One is never seen again. This is the unsettling, unanswered story widely known as the Yuba County 5. Our story begins on Friday night, February 24th, 1978, in California's northern Sacramento Valley. 5 young men, Gary Mathias, 25, Ted Wire, 32, Jack Madruga, 30, Bill Sterling, 29, and Jackie Hewitt. 24 leave their homes in and around Yuba City and Marysville to attend a college basketball game at California State University, Chico. They're fans of the Chico State team and of sports in general, and the outing is a simple road trip. Drive up, watch the game, grab snacks, and head back to get a good night's rest before their own Special Olympics-affiliated basketball event scheduled the next morning. Friends and family later emphasize how excited the group was for their tournament uniforms laid out. Plans set, making what follows even harder to understand. After the game, the 5 stop at a convenience store for snacks, candy bars, sodas, a few odds and ends. Witnesses remember their cheerful energy. Then they start home in Jack Madruga's car, a 1969 Mercury Montego. But instead of heading south toward Yuba City, they travel northeast into the Sierra foothills. Why they turned that way is one of many questions that remain. Their families can't explain it. The men knew the area around home, not the higher mountain roads where snow still lay thick that night. The next day, when they don't show for their own game, loved ones call the police. A large search begins. On February 28th, a ranger reports finding Madruga's Montego in the Plumas National Forest, up a remote mountain road far from the direct route back to Yuba County. The car is stuck in light snow, but not deeply stuck. Investigators later say it likely could have been pushed free by several people. The gas tank is a quarter full. The battery has enough charge to start. The keys are gone, the doors unlocked, and there is no visible mechanical problem. It looks as if the car has been abandoned deliberately or in haste. A fierce late-season storm sweeps through the mountains around the time they go missing. Heavy snowfall covers tracks, scatters scent for dogs, and makes roads treacherous for searchers. Crews fan out on snowshoes and snowmobiles, but visibility is poor. Each day without new sign of the men adds to the sense that something is very wrong. Weeks pass. There are tips and rumors, but nothing that brings the 5 home. The mountains keep their secrets until the thaw. In June 1978, as snow melts in the high country, search teams push deeper along logging roads and into forested drainages near where the car was found. They locate the remains of 3 of the men, Madruga, Sterling, and Hewitt, in the general vicinity between the abandoned car and a cluster of seasonal Forest Service trailers used in warmer months. Paths through the brush suggest wandering, perhaps attempts to reach help. The discoveries are fragmented and spread out, consistent with exposure and the passage of time. A 4th location provides the most haunting clues of all. Roughly 19 to 20 miles from the car, searchers enter a Forest Service trailer. Inside, they find the body of Ted Wire. He appears to have been there for weeks. The trailer offers shelter, a propane tank for heat, matches, blankets, clothing, and storage buildings outside with a sizable stock of canned rations and other supplies. Some rations have been opened and eaten, many more remain untouched. The gasoline-powered generator has not been switched on. The larger propane system for heating and cooking was also never engaged. The vehicle's spare tires and furniture are undisturbed, no sign of a sustained effort to create warmth beyond blankets. It is as if help and resources sat within reach, but were not fully used. Outside and along routes between the car and the trailer, searchers also find scattered items associated with the men's snack wrappers, light footprints now long eroded, and signs that at least one member of the group may have used a military-style can opener to open rations, an item that Gary Mathias, a U.S. Army veteran, would likely have known how to use. This detail fuels speculation about who made it to the trailer, who left, and in what order. As of today, Gary Mathias has never been found. He is officially listed as a missing person. His family and investigators have long believed it would have been extremely difficult for him to survive indefinitely without regular medication for a diagnosed condition. Over the years, theories about his fate range from tragic separation and exposure to foul play. But there is no confirmed evidence that explains his disappearance. How did 5 friends leave a well-traveled highway and wind up on a snowbound mountain road? Why did they abandon a functioning vehicle that likely could have been pushed free? Why did at least one member reach a trailer stocked with life-sustaining supplies yet not turn on the heat or fully use the food and fuel available? And finally, where did Gary Mathias go? The known facts frame these questions, but answers remain elusive. Recreating the drive, investigators note the men could have missed a turn after leaving Chico late at night. A wrong exit leads toward Oroville and into the Sierra foothills from there. Smaller roads climb toward the Plumas National Forest. Locals warn that winter conditions can turn those routes into icy corridors, with snowbanks and limited signage after dark. The Mercury Montego's low clearance would struggle on unplowed stretches, yet the car makes it miles up a logging road before getting stuck lightly in snow. That suggests deliberate driving for some distance, not merely a quick wrong turn. Some propose they were following someone, perhaps a vehicle they trusted, or responding to an emergency. Others think they were sightseeing, though that conflicts with their plans for an early morning tournament. There is no consensus. Experts in outdoor survival and psychology point out that disorientation, cold, and fatigue can drive unusual choices. Wind chill, darkness, and snow-covered landmarks distort distance and direction. When people in a group are scared, they sometimes split. Some push forward for help. Others wait, hoping rescuers will arrive. Panic can also make simple equipment appear unfamiliar, especially in an unfamiliar setting. In this case, however, experienced searchers highlight that the trailer offered straightforward solutions. Turn on heat or power, conserve rations, wait for weather to clear. That makes the scene uniquely perplexing. News features and documentaries repeatedly emphasize how these details differentiate this case from typical winter lost scenarios. One widely discussed scenario suggests the car became stuck and the group chose to walk for assistance, believing a ranger station or inhabited building lay just ahead. In the mountains, distances can be deceptive. What seems like just over the ridge can be a multi-hour trek, especially at night in snow. This theory explains the migration toward the trailers and why individuals were found along the general corridor between the car and that site. Its weakness is the trailer itself. Once there, why not fully use heat, power, and food to recover strength and then plan a safe retreat? The misguided help-seeking idea does not by itself explain the partial use of supplies. Another theory proposes the men were following someone they trusted or felt compelled to follow into the mountains, perhaps intending to help a stranded motorist. A stranded driver rumor circulated early in the investigation. If they thought they could assist, that could explain the detour in the wrong direction and their progression up a poor road at night. It also might explain a decision to abandon the car if they believed a short walk would reach that person. But no corroborated evidence confirms a second vehicle leading them that night. Some speculate there was a confrontation that led the group away from the car against their better judgment. Families processing unimaginable loss have at times voiced concerns or suspicions about whether all five were always acting together, or whether one individual's actions contributed to tragedy. Investigators, though, have never announced conclusive evidence of foul play. The case files and public reporting leave this possibility open but unproven. Gary Mathias lived with a diagnosed psychiatric condition managed by medication. If he missed doses during the outing, stress and cold might have complicated the group's decision-making. This possibility is discussed cautiously in public sources, given the need for respect and the absence of direct proof about that night. Importantly, this hypothesis still doesn't fully explain the trailer's underused resources or the distances traveled in heavy snow. It is a contributing factor theory, not a complete explanation. Searchers and locals note that during winter, snowcats or plows operate on those roads. Some case discussions suggest the men may have followed fresh tracks or mistaken machinery lights for signs of habitation, continuing onward with the belief that a station or town was close. If so, that would explain perseverance up the mountain road. But again, once the car was left and the trailer later reached, the basic survival logic remains unresolved. Investigators report that canned rations in an outside storage shed had been opened and partially consumed, yet many more remained untouched. Matches existed, a propane tank and a generator could have provided heat and light. Why weren't they used extensively? Some propose fear of damaging government property. Others suggest confusion, exhaustion, or misreading how the systems worked. There is also mention in some accounts of a wristwatch found in the trailer that didn't match any of the 5 men's known watches, a small detail that fuels speculation about whether someone else was present at some point. None of these details, however, lead to a definitive narrative. From the abandoned car to the trailer is roughly 19-20 miles by road, farther if you wander or detour. In deep snow, progress is punishingly slow. The pattern of discoveries suggests at least two phases. First, the decision to leave the car. Second, a prolonged struggle in the backcountry with some members turning back or becoming separated. The trailer indicates at least one person survived for weeks. That implies effort, willpower, and basic resourcefulness under extreme stress, even if choices about heat and food seem confounding to outside observers. Let's pause and separate what is known from what is inferred. Known facts include the date of disappearance after a Chico State game, the abandoned Mercury Montego found on a mountain road, the later discoveries of 4 men, including Ted Wire in a Forest Service trailer, the existence of unused or partially used supplies, and the continuing disappearance of Gary Mathias. These facts are reported consistently across credible overviews and news features revisiting the case. Assumptions include why they turned off the highway, whether they followed someone, why survival resources were not fully used, and what happened to Mathias. On these points, theories abound, but definitive evidence is scarce. Family members always emphasize that the group was responsible, excited for their tournament, and not prone to risky late-night mountain drives in winter. Investigators then and now call the case one of Northern California's most puzzling unsolved mysteries. Media pieces decades later still revisit it, highlighting the unique combination of a wrong-way detour, an abandoned but working car, a reachable shelter with supplies, and a single member never found. This enduring blend of facts sustains public interest and compassion for the families who continue to want answers. You may hear comparisons to other wilderness mysteries groups lost in winter, expeditions gone wrong. The Yuba case stands apart because the men were not on a remote trek. They were on a routine drive back from a game. The path they took, the survivable shelter they reached, and the partial use of essentials are a rare combination. That is why, nearly half a century later, people still ask how a simple night out could end in such uncertainty. While there is no official, singular conclusion, a cautious synthesis of the record might look like this. After the game and a snack stop, the group took a wrong turn or an intentional detour that led them toward Oroville and up into the mountains. Whether they followed tracks, lights, or a mistaken belief that a town lay ahead, they continued until the Montego could go no farther. Faced with cold, darkness, and accumulating snow, they began moving on foot. At least some of them aimed for help, following the road or cut through paths. In the confusion of snow and fatigue, the group separated. One or more reached the Forest Service trailer and took initial steps to shelter, eating some rations and bundling up. But heat and power were never properly engaged, perhaps from confusion, fear of causing damage, difficulty operating equipment, or a hope that rescuers would arrive soon. Over days and then weeks, exposure, hunger, and disorientation took their toll. When spring arrived, searchers found 4 of the 5, each discovery adding detail but not full clarity. Gary Mathias remained unlocated, leaving an open chapter that continues to this day. This synthesis honors the facts while acknowledging the unknowns. Time, weather, and wildlife complicate every mountain search. Snow erased tracks within hours. Spring melt scattered evidence. In 1978, there were fewer cameras, fewer data trails, and less robust backcountry communication than today. Even now, terrain around Plumas National Forest can conceal clues for years. That's why, Despite periodic re-examinations by journalists and renewed public interest sparked by documentaries and articles, the central questions persist. Behind the theories are 5 friends who loved sports, routines, and familiar comforts. Families who set out uniforms the night before a big day, and a community that searched through storms hoping for a rescue. Any telling of this mystery should keep them at the center. The facts we have are stark enough. Speculation should never overshadow empathy. Sometimes the most unsettling mysteries are not grand conspiracies, but a chain of ordinary decisions meeting extraordinary conditions. A wrong road, a snowstorm, a night where help seemed closer than it was. The Yuba County mystery endures because it feels close to home. 5 friends doing something we've all done driving back after a game caught in circumstances that escalated beyond expectation. The case remains open in the public imagination because one question lingers in the silence of those forests. What was the moment when return became impossible? If this careful, respectful deep dive kept you thinking, help us bring more unsolved histories to light. Tap like so more people see this story. Hit subscribe for weekly mysteries told with empathy and research. And tell me in the comments, which single decision in this timeline do you think mattered most? The wrong turn, leaving the car, or what happened at the trailer? Your insights help shape the next investigation.